Welcome to episode 14 of the Electrified Marina podcast. I'm your host and producer, Brooks Lawson.
And Erick Pinzon from Electrified Marina.
Today is August 24th, 2025, and this show is brought to you by us at Electrified Marina. Please check out electrifiedmarina.com/Brooks and call or email us if you decide you have any interest in buying a new electric boat or repowering your current boat with an electric powertrain. The best way to interact with the show is to post comments in the comment section on YouTube. Erick, do you have some announcements for us today?
Yeah, man. It's been busy. We got a busy month ahead of us. We've got going next week down to South Carolina to visit Velar. We're going to be doing some range testing on their boat. It's going to be it's a foil assist catamaran, but it's should be getting about 30-40 miles of range at planing speeds with 60 kilowatt hours, which is kind of unheard of unless it's a full foiling boat. So that's exciting. And then going to Monaco the first week of September, 9th and 10th, I believe it is, for some new announcements. That'll be exciting. Probably going to be broadcasting that while we're there because should be releasing some new products. They've given us a couple teasers. We'll see how it goes. Then September 27th, we've got an event up at Lake Anna, Virginia. And then the following week is the Annapolis Boat Show. But we're going to have a ton of boats at each of those. It's pretty cool. We almost have to be picky on what boats we bring because we've got so many. So just for instance, Lake Anna, we're going to have a Vision Marine V30 there. We're going to have the Halavai there. We're going to have the Velar Artemis there. We're going to have an Ingenuity there, some jet skis. It's going to be a lot of boats, and that's just like a grassroots event in someone's backyard. It's going to be, and then Annapolis is going to be even bigger. So haven't dialed in exactly what boats we're bringing there yet, but it'll probably be 4 to 5 of them. It's pretty exciting.
Excellent. And today's guests are Emil Finn, CEO of Elvene, joining us from Finland, and Justin Dalinger of AquaLectric. And today we're going to talk about Elvene, or is it Elvene, or how do you pronounce that?
Elvene is how we usually pronounce it, but Elvene sounds just fine.
I mean, that's the phonetic pronunciation, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Emil, tell us about Elvene and how you got started and why you got started.
Absolutely. Elvene, we're a manufacturer of solar electric boats here in Finland. And really going back to the roots, we started about 5 years ago. I started it together with a co-founder, but actually the history of the company goes back about 25 years or so when I built my first boat as 12 years old. And since then I've been designing boats on my free time, and 5 years ago I decided to actually make it my job. Got a background in vehicle engineering, got a master from vehicle engineering, so I should be in the car industry actually. Don't really like that industry, so I switched to boats instead.
Me neither.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So no, but the start of Elvene was just I looked at when the electrification of boats started, I just looked at what was happening, and I didn't really like what I saw. So I just sat down and started doing some calculations, putting some numbers on papers, and seeing like what is actually possible, like what is the maximum that you can get out of an electrical boat with current technology. And then I started seeing results that I found were quite interesting. So I wanted to take it one step further and kind of remove the charging bit from the equation and make the boats fully self-sustainable. I started looking at what are the different options for this, and in the end, started building solar boats. Found an equation, found a combination of a very efficient hull together with enough power and enough surface area for solar, and this way we're able to build boats that are actually self-sufficient.
That's amazing. Can we take a step back though? You said you built your first boat at 12.
Yeah.
And in the US, that's not like a normal thing. I know Finland's known for boat building. Is that like hey, you just started throwing some stuff together? Like, you got to elaborate more on that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, as it's quite common in Finland that you have a summer house. I mean, we have short summers here. We really try to maximize the good weather. So we have a cabin out on a small island. Only way to get there is by boat. So you grow up driving boats. So did I. At around 10, 11 years old, I started looking at boats that I wanted my own. I wanted something different than what we had in the family. And I couldn't really find something I liked on the market. So,
Build it. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So I started looking into building it instead. No, but luckily, this is something we have in the family. My dad's built several boats. My grandfather's built several boats as well. So then I started presenting some ideas to my dad and started out late autumn and built. And it was a wooden boat. It was very important for me to have a wooden boat. So we built a first wooden boat when I was 12 years old.
That is cool. This cabin, is it like off grid, run on generators? Like, how do you power it out there?
It's off grid. Previously on generators, right now solar for
Nice.
obvious reasons.
Nice. Just making sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
We would have ended the podcast probably.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Yeah, it's funny. I always talk about your guys' boats. We have people, countless times, whether it's social media or on at boat shows, and they see the top of, whether it's an X-Shore Elex or one of these Ingenities or, something with a small canopy, and they're like, oh, you should put solar on it. I'm like, that doesn't usually work. And we can usually tell someone isn't like engineering minded or they don't know about efficiency. And it's like, unless you cover this whole boat with solar and have a very efficient boat, and it's like X, Y, and Z, but all the variables have to line up, whether it's, speed, horsepower, surface area. But it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I use you guys as the exception, you and like Silent Yachts, which has like ridiculous surface area. But I always bring it up. It's like, actually, this can work. And it's like, this is like the showcase of the exception. So I love what you're doing, man. It's we need to get more of your boats over here to the US and get these things out there. It's an awesome product.
Well, thank you. And I mean, it's exactly like you say. On most boats, it just doesn't work. The equation doesn't add up, and that's also the case for our boats. That people think that it's the electrical drivetrain, that it's the solar, that's the complicated part to design. But I mean, actually, that's really simple. You know the efficiency of an electric motor. You know the efficiency of solar panels, so you know exactly how much energy you're getting. The interesting part and the complicated part is actually designing a boat that works with this limited amount of energy. And this has been by far the most difficult part in the design process, to actually build a boat that's efficient enough, light enough, and also has enough surface area for solar, so you actually get it working. And it took a while, but now we got a quite nice platform that we're working with.
That's awesome. Give us some specs, man. The kilowatt hour, the solar, the battery size.
Yeah, absolutely. The model that we're focusing on, or like say our flagship Amber, which is 6.5 meters, 22 feet, that is, I think. So 6.5 meters. The boat itself weighs around 400 kilos. With batteries and motors, we're up at around 800 to 900 kilos. We have 20 kilowatt hour battery as minimum, can increase that up to 60. We start at 20 kilowatt power. We can go up to 50. Solar power, we're doing 1.4 kilowatt peak. So let's say on a good day or on an average day, you should see around 6 to 7 kilowatt hours charge every day from the integrated panels. And this is, of course, we're building everything around like average values. So we're looking at the use case. How often do you use your boat? How much do you drive? And so forth. And actually, we produce more power than the boats actually use. So we have a surplus of power in our boats for most of the time.
That is awesome. And I mean, that makes sense. Like if you were to say the average person uses their boat like once every other week, like that's probably average. It's interesting too, in regards to that, the power generation side of things. I've had a few different phone calls recently on like vehicle to grid type stuff.
Yes.
And especially when you've got a boat generating more solar than it's going to consume in energy, the math gets interesting there and what value it can bring. depending on the utility grid, if they pay for solar credits and everything, it's like now this boat might be making you money by sitting there. It'd be pretty
Exactly.
cool to see.
What kind of design does a solar boat need to work? Like what needs to be different about it and special?
Well, there are two parameters you really have to take into account. One is the hull design. So you have to have a hull that is extremely energy efficient. So for us, we have also been working hard on getting a hull that that performs well in a wide range of speed. So you can drive the boat really slowly, but you can also take it up to like 30, 35 knots if you want to. We don't offer motors yet. Currently, we limit the top speed at 25 knots, but the boat itself is designed to do 35. So this is one thing, extremely energy efficient hull that you can drive in a wide range of different speeds. Secondly, you have to have enough surface area for solar. The easy thing is, of course, just putting a massive roof on top of it. Building a catamaran, put a massive roof, then you have a lot of surface area. This is what I call the easy solution, and that's not the way we wanted to go. So we have instead maximized the surface area of the boat deck itself, and then using a smaller roof to kind of get a design we like, and also to stick with a single hull, which we prefer. But these are the two main things: keep an extremely energy efficient hull and enough surface area.
And your guys' battery system, is it 48 volts, 96 volts?
We're
Depends
running
on the motors,
we're
I
running
guess.
everything on 48 volts. Keep it simple, safe, and also we have a lot of customers off grid in faraway countries. So we like to keep it easy to maintain and easy to service. So that's really one of our focuses as well.
That's pretty cool. We always look at demographics and profiles for use cases and stuff. And I've had, I don't know, one or two that we've both discussed that need off-grid applications. But is that like a majority of your customers' use cases is not having energy nearby?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, most.
But you do
No,
have those.
we
Yeah.
yeah, we do have that. I mean, most people or most of our customers still have their boat in a marina where shore power is available. So they have this possibility. But with our boats, let's say 99% of the time, you don't need to use it. You can just run it off solar.
That's awesome.
And by saying that, that also means we have onboard chargers so that it is possible to plug it in, but you just don't need to.
So Justin and Emil recently went on a very long distance trip. Justin, can you tell us about that? Give us a little recap of that trip.
And also background on you. I know we've had you on before, but like recap for everyone
Sure.
that
Yeah. So
is new.
yeah, got it. So I basically I'm a boat captain, worked in the marine industry for years and years, got interested in EV boats, electric boats. So, what I found in like very quickly on is that the range of these electric boats is disappointing to say the least. For coming from the marine world where you're going hundreds of miles, and so it's just not what I would have expected. So I met Emil at the Cannes Boat Show, trying to find out more about electric boats, and he started talking about his boat, and it just struck me that okay, here's this boat that can take a small, lightweight, efficient battery and extend the range out with like solar technology. And I in the past, if you say solar boat, you know, two things come to mind. Either, a university project is sort of like wafer thin, uh, it's like hyper efficient, but not really usable in the real world. Or, these big yachts that are covered in solar panels, which are really more like decoration. And so Emil's boat is this like real world, robust looking, boat that we could like actually use in the real world. So what I wanted to do is, okay, the theory is great, but let's get out and use it. Let's get out and actually test it. It's like Emil and I were talking, and it's like how could we put this to the test and show people like, okay, this technology actually works. It's one thing to talk about it like we're doing now. It's another to actually get out there. How do we show that? and the idea was like, let's do, you know, a multi-day trip and never plug it in, you know, just, and we'll go to off-grid places where, you know, you really can't charge, and see what happens, you know, see if the technology works. And ultimately it did. I mean, we went, you know, just to give you an example, the boat has a 30 kilowatt hour battery, and we used 50 kilowatt hours for the trip.
So how far was the trip and where did you go?
We did a little more. We did something like 210 nautical miles through the Finnish archipelago, which is where Elvene is based. So we went, you know, island hopping. It was ended up being 5 days, different islands. We camped in one night. We stayed in old pilot houses, um, and yeah, and little cabins, little off grid cabins. So it was such a cool, fun experience that I got to do this, and it was, you know, it was all possible in this like the technology on the boat.
And so, like on a lot of these islands, would people just bring their own fuel, just load up their boat with jerry cans, and just have it on board for their travels?
Exactly. This is exactly how they do. A lot of jerry cans, refueling with them. A lot of course, you know, a lot goes into the waters and so forth. So not very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
What was your average consumption for the trip? Do you know?
Average consumption, we were using around 1 kilowatt was the average power we were using, which means we were doing about 0.25 kilowatt hours per nautical mile.
Nice. That is awesome, man. And so, like, the trip was a mix. I've only watched probably half the content out there on it, but it was a mix of speeds, and it was really just like kind of it was a normal. Would you say that'd be like a normal trip for someone on like an average weekend or week, or is that how someone would spend a vacation or holiday?
We kind of, I mean, we had a goal to reach. So we wanted to do this distance record. I think if we were gone out just for enjoyment, we probably would have sped up a little bit, and probably stayed more time on these islands rather than just kind of hustling to get this distance record. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What would you say?
No, exactly the same. We were driving a bit slower than I would maybe do myself. And as you said, I also think most people would do it that way, that they would drive faster to get to the destination, spend more time there, and then drive faster to the next destination. But we were, like Justin said, we were out to just show the capabilities of the boat and to kind of just maximize the distance and break this record. So that's why we optimized the speed according to this, so that we would actually be able to reach the 200 plus nautical miles. But if we would do it again, we would have to take it up into a plane
Awesome.
for a bit. That's the only thing I regret from our trip, that we didn't, like, for a
Yeah.
short period of time at least, we should have just driven faster. Now we were doing the 3, 4, 5 knots most of the time.
Yeah, the Ageless Wanderer, Robert doing that Great Loop trip was like in similar timing with this, and I was sharing it with my daughter and stuff, and she's like, "Man," she's like, "someone needs to do the Great Loop with that boat." I'm like, "God, that would be cool." We need to get that boat over here and do the trip. It'd take a while, but it'd be fun.
I would love to do that. After we did this trip, we've been receiving these sort of suggestions from all over the world, from Canada and this great loop, and also from Africa, going to the uh, most western point of Africa, and all of these things. So we have a lot of plans and a lot of trips that we need to do.
I think probably for most customers, they would have it behind their house or, you know, normal use case. But I mean, the cool thing about this technology is you really could take it to a very remote place, and basically have the sun recharge most of it, and never really have to, like, be on grid or get electricity. So it's just one of the unique capabilities. It's one of the things that a solar electric boat, purpose built like this, can do, that's superior to a fossil fuel boat, which is
Right.
pretty
And
cool.
and otherwise, like you would be dragging jerry cans around. And it's funny, we've been dealing more with Zero Jet, and we've talking to a lot of people that are liveaboards, and they're, these sailors that live on their boats full time. And, we start having the conversation, and it dawns on them that they're not going to have to drag gas cans around anymore, because
Exactly.
most of them have diesel gensets on their boats. And so it's like, man, I'm not going to need gas for my dinghy anymore. And it's just this like aha moment of realizing they don't have to deal with that headache anymore. It's pretty interesting to see. Yeah, I'm curious, Justin. I saw the website. I've actually already sent a few people there, funny enough, from the automotive world. I love that you got it launched, and we talked about your the website, and you were gonna look for volunteers and see who wants to help from the community. And like, I had my doubts, and it's like, I really hope you find somebody, kind of thing. And it looks like you've got a decent group of guys and helping kind of get the word out there, man. Doing trips like this and the work you're doing is what we need more of, man. It's the lift right now is huge, because there's not enough people doing that, whether it's the content side or doing trips like this. So like, kudos to you, man. Hats off to you.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it was about my own learning as much as, sharing it with other people and just showing what's possible. It's like, you gotta just see it with your own eyes and actually do it and experience it, and it starts to wheels turning on what's possible, with this technology. So that was really the whole point.
I love it. Any other trips planned yet? Or-
And not yet, nothing yet. And maybe Emil, you?
We got a lot of trips planned, but not a set agenda yet. I would love to drive down to Cannes, just straight from here in Finland, just go south through Europe down to Cannes. Won't make it for this year's show, but maybe next year.
yeah. Are you going to be at the show?
I'll be there, yeah. We're not exhibiting
Okay,
this
nice.
year, but I'll be there.
Nice, man. I'll need to connect with you, but I think I'm going to be there on the 11th for just a day before I have to get back over here.
Emil, have you ever considered making a solar hydrofoil?
We have looked into it. We have looked into hydrofoils a lot, but we have made the decision to not go into hydrofoiling, just because our design philosophy is really keeping things simple and reliable. And as I said, they are being used in quite remote areas, some of our boats as well, and we want them to be able to use them in remote areas. So adding foils to them just adds complexity that we really don't want on our designs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but actually, if you look at the consumption numbers on our boat compared to foiling boats out there, you will be I think you will have a bit of a, now I'm losing the English words here, but you will be
Impressed.
impressed. We can say that, yeah, because we have quite nice consumption numbers on our boats.
I'm curious. I've never really seen a ranking in terms of efficiency. I'm sure you've looked at it. Is yours, would you say, one of the most efficient boats, if not the most efficient out there, other than foiling?
Well, this, of course, I can't know every boat that's out on the market.
I meant electric,
Yeah,
actually, in particular.
But with every boat that we've benchmarked that doesn't have foils, ours is more efficient.
Pretty cool, man.
Comparing to some foiling boats, we are on par with them.
Wow. It's yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I don't know. It's like a whole opens Pandora's box of not only range testing but efficiency testing. Also, that'd be pretty cool to compare.
And like we said from the beginning, this is the key needed to be able to build these types of boats. Like, if we would use a traditional hull with similar energy efficiency as they have, it wouldn't work.
Cool, man. Anything in the future for Elvene that's kind of roadmapped, or I'm curious in terms of products or market expansion or anything you can share?
We have a lot going on. It will be a busy year ahead of us, a busy autumn. But maybe I could say one thing that we're really looking into is now we have been focusing on making the drivetrain of the boat completely CO2 neutral. So we don't have any emission from our boat, as you don't need to charge them at all, and we're getting all the energy from solar. Now the next big thing is, of course, looking at the materials that the boat is built from. So we have just started a project, and we're actually getting EU funding from this. So that's really nice. So we are starting a project when we're looking into different types of materials to build the boat from, so that we could get rid of glass fiber, carbon fiber, and all of this, and start using materials that are, well, of course, more sustainable. The main goal for us is to have boats that can be built from recycled materials, but is also recyclable. So we would have a circular product that where the boat is actually CO2 neutral. So that is the goal. Let's see how far we get, but this is not adding a layer of flax fiber on top of your traditional glass fiber to make it look green. This is actually, we're really digging into the details here and trying to find a different way of building boats.
You mentioned that part about adding the flax fiber. I take it some manufacturers do that and call it sustainable.
Some manufacturers might do that, yeah.
Nice. It's funny, I often talk about sustainability and carbon footprint and everything, and there's always certain variables that go into that, and one of it is the manufacturing side of things. And now once you start using post-consumer recycled material, whether it's a solar powered boat and then it's recyclable afterwards, it's like it gets rid of a lot of those a lot of detractors from the conversation. Because I'm usually, I don't know, I try to be very grounded and say, like, hey, we're talking about pleasure boating. It's not the most sustainable thing. You're doing it for fun. If you really wanted to save the planet, like, you wouldn't be consuming more products. But with this, and now obviously that goes away once it's like for transportation or a work boat. But now if you've got this, like you said, the circular process, it kind of changes that conversation. That's pretty exciting, man.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it because this is something we've been working on already for several years behind the scenes. But now we're actually prioritizing it and making it into a real project, which makes which forces me and everyone else at Elvene to follow a project plan and have a deadline when we should have some results. If we will reach the results we hope for or that we think, don't know, but let's see.
Yeah, very exciting, man. That's awesome.
I wanted to ask you more because I saw that on your website when I was looking at it recently that it says co-funded by the EU. Like
Yes.
you told us, why are they funding you?
Well, I hope they like what we're doing. The EU are helping companies that are, there's really, I'm probably simplifying this a lot right now, but there are two specific areas that they like to fund. One is internationalization. So if you have a lot of export from your company, they're willing to help you reach these goals. The other one is sustainability. And as we are focusing on both of these areas, I mean, 99% of our sales is export. And I think we can say that we're the sustainability is quite high up on our focus. So that's why we're getting some support from the EU.
What kind of areas are you primarily exporting to?
Currently, our biggest market is Africa, West Africa to be specific.
Is there a reason there? Like, what's the regular use case there? That sounds interesting.
There we're mainly selling boats to hotels, resorts, and these sort of businesses where they use the boats for like pleasure boats. Take their customers out to small cruises, sunset cruises, and things like this. That is really the main use case. But now we're also going more into commercial use, so like transport and also fishing. So what's the word now? Coastal fishing, which in these use cases is really where our boats are doing most benefit, both for the environment and for the users, as there's no emission and the fishermen or the people running the boats are increasing their margin as they have no energy cost.
Yeah, and it's huge when you get into that application, because pleasure boating's one thing. They
Yes.
might use the boat once a week, every 2 weeks, but when it's a work boat that's getting used every single day, like those, they've been operating this business with this huge expense of fuel,
Yes.
maintenance, repairs. And like, if you make any reduction to that, that's straight to their bottom line. It's
Exactly.
pretty significant. We've got I don't know, a handful of different commercial applications that we're working with. And one of them is like an oyster farmer, and he's got 3 boats that run 365 days a year. You know, it's not like he's doing it on the weekends. But so much of their gas consumption is idle time, you know, running their PTUs and their all the onboard equipment. And so, you know, you find a work boat, cover it in solar, put a battery bank in there, and those things aren't going fast. They're usually like work barge status.
Yeah.
It gets pretty exciting. But we just partnered with we're looking into a company called Blue Grid, and it's literally energy consumption tracking and GPS tracking, and prints it out and shows them the data, and it's like, hey, here's your ROI. But sometimes that return is within a couple of years, even with a new boat purchase. So it's, I don't know, those real world applications, we need like more information from. I know Flux has a work boat up in Maine, and the guy found me through social media, and people were like roasting this powertrain that I posted, and it had like 500,000 views. And he's like, actually, here's a picture of our work boat, and the thing's been amazing. We're getting another one.
Nice.
But like those use cases, whether it's that hotel for the tourism side of things, I mean, there's thousands of those boats out there and hotels that utilize that as an attraction. So
Exactly.
it's I don't know, I think those are what we try to look for, because the consumer side is great, but when you can quantify the value and show them, here's your carbon reduction, here's your savings, the downtime is significant too.
Exactly.
So now putting that into a business proposal makes it a lot easier than, hey, look at this boat you're gonna go have fun on, you know? Yeah, very cool, man.
Yeah, this is also, if we go back, just take one step back and talk about the trip we did with Justin a little bit
Yeah.
more. This is also a big reason why we wanted to do this, because the main challenge we have is that people don't believe the numbers we are presenting. They don't believe the data we are presenting because they just don't think it's true, or they don't think it's doable to build solar electric boats that actually work. So we have been doing these trips on our own. We went over to Sweden and came back it's about 50, 60 nautical miles across. So we did this back and forth. But we realized this is like the Elvene team doing these things. So there's still this little like a risk that people believe that we're modifying the data we're presenting. So that's why it was so great when we started discussing with Justin, like, hey, here's someone outside of Elvene, a third party that comes and actually sees that we are doing this and the boat is actually running, and we don't have a generator on board and we don't plug it in at any point of time. So that was really, really good for us to get this validation that they do actually work.
Yeah, it's funny, when you guys were working this up, I was in conversation with Volar, and I invited Justin down to it, and it was like too last minute. It got thrown together. But yeah, that third party validation goes a long way. And it's also, when you guys are shooting that content and you're like out there on the boat day to day, like showing the usage, it's like, hey, this is real. It's not like you have a camera crew following you and, you know, this full on production that's doctored up. It's like, hey, this is us, and you know, we're doing this on a phone, and it's I don't know, it's just very organic versus something that's so scripted.
Yeah, and that was really the point as well. Is, I mean, it's one thing to do a boat review video or kind of show features, but what I think we really wanted to do is show a boat being used as you would use it in your life. And that was kind of, you know, that was the point of it, was to just like go out and have an experience. I mean, what are boats for anyway? Either you're working on it, or you're going out to have fun, or do something with your family and friends, and have it less maybe boat focused. The boat's just a platform for you to go out and live your life and have an adventure.
That's it, man. And it's funny. I had a guy on a discovery call. He brought up like, I don't know, depreciation or like resale value or something. And I was like, dude, like, how do you put a dollar sign on those memories, you know, with your family and friends? It's like, that's what a boat is for. You're not trying to get X amount of dollars in 3 years when you sell it. Like, we'll end the conversation now because I'm not going to fight you on this. Like the value is those memories. It's huge. And it's, I don't know, there's a lot of people like you, Emil, you just mentioned just having those memories growing up on a boat. Like I didn't have those as a kid. I didn't grow up on a boat, but like my daughter is going to have a childhood full of them, and it's I don't know, it's hard to quantify what that's worth to people. It's pretty awesome.
But if we had to quantify it, another thing that I love about Elvene is that actually his boat's price point are pretty reasonable for an electric boat. I think that's the other huge thing is, not only is it capable, but it's actually pretty affordable for an electric boat.
We get leads from all over and all walks of life, and some of them aren't price sensitive, and then there's some that are like, hey, I'm on a budget, and it's like I want to do a DIY boat, and I bring up the one of the Elvene boats, and it's like, hey, we could do one of these, and like shipping and tariffs tack onto it. But we go through the numbers with them, and I show them. They're like, I want to, I kind of want to convert my own. It's like, okay, and like we'll crunch some numbers on some boats that aren't going to be as efficient. They're not going to have as much solar, and it's not like a polished product. It's going to look like a DIY job afterwards. And then we're within like 10 to 20% of the cost of one of his boats, and it's like, please just go with this option because like we're not going to do any better. And like there usually isn't a good way to put solar on a boat and make it good aesthetically. Like unless it's a pontoon or a tri-tune or a catamaran, like putting it on a monohull, like or you've got like these cheap, flexible panels that aren't producing a ton of energy in terms of efficiency. But like other than that, like it's hard to do it in a aesthetically pleasing way. And like your boats actually look good, which it isn't common. But yeah, you're right. In terms of the price point, like under $100,000 for a solar powered boat, and that's especially low volume. And it's a lot of people don't realize, I deal with that a lot in the comments in social media or at boat shows. I'm like, oh, it's so expensive. It's like, dude, we're not even up to 100 boats a year with most of these manufacturers. Like you look at any other boats that are out there getting built, like they've made thousands and thousands of boats, and some of them hundreds of thousands. Like they've got economies of scale in their favor. They've got margins in their favor. They've got negotiating power with any distributor or any supplier that they have. Like we don't have that. We're at the very early stages of this, and the cool part is it's gonna get more affordable. It's gonna get cheaper over time. Obviously, not counting for tariffs and such, but we're in the beginning stages of this. This is the most expensive it'll get, and it's only gonna get cheaper. So it's kudos to you guys for keeping it at a reasonable price point. That's relatively obtainable. It's not a $150,000 to $300,000 boat like some of the discussions we have, which is out of reach for most people. You throw in the purchase price of the boat, but like you look at life cycle cost, and now you're not spending a few $1,000s a year in maintenance and fuel, and it I don't know, it adds up pretty quick.
Exactly. Now I'm glad you brought this up actually, because this is like another part of the optimization process when we were designing the boats, because you can affect the cost a lot with just small modifications to your design. And actually, I don't know, I'm probably stepping on someone's toes right now, but the electric drivetrain, the electric motor and batteries, they aren't as expensive as people want them to look or sound like. You can get quite affordable electric drivetrains as long as you know what you're doing. And this is, of course, what we have been focusing on. So the whole boat itself has been designed in a way so it's easy to manufacture, easy to assemble, keep cost down without cutting any corners, because it still performs exactly as it should. And it's just a matter of actually designing for an affordable price. And this is really what we have been trying to do, to get the boats out there, to make them available for as many as possible.
Yeah, and that's what I always try to focus on too, because we'll have some manufacturers reach out to us, and it's like this cool, sexy, 500 horsepower boat, or some of the foiling boats. And like, don't get me wrong, I love them. They can make a lot more sense in the ferry application, but like what we're focused on is the consumer side of things. It's like I'd much rather focus on $100,000 boat versus a $500,000 to $600,000 boat. I'm not going to sell a lot of the bigger ones, and as much as I love them, it's like how practical and how much volume are we gonna do in terms of getting the boat out there, and that's what's gonna make the difference is volume right now, in terms of everything. Whether it's having the impact in terms of carbon reduction or viability of businesses staying in business because we're actually moving product versus having this, super cool 80-mile-an-hour boat that is sexy and, setting other records. But it's like, how many of those are going to sell outside of Monaco? Let's be realistic about it. I don't know. I think there's a place for everything, but we've got to do with what's moving the most, and where we can actually have an impact, especially right now where all of us are counting on volume.
Exactly.
And I think Emil and I have had other conversations about like the boat actually could even be more efficient and more optimized. However, I think you guys try to find the sweet spot, the balance between being able to get accessible parts and have it like for maintenance and serviceability rather than just it like maxing out efficiency. And you've kind of tried to find that balance where it's easy to service and you can, parts are available.
Exactly. No, we're trying to use as much off-the-shelf components as possible. So it will be, I mean, when you have your boat in Western Africa and something happens, you don't want to, they don't want to start looking for a customized part that's being built in a small garage in Finland. They want to have like something off the shelf that they can just order. And this is what we're trying to do. So we're focusing on making the main components that has the most effect on the efficiency that we do all by ourselves. Then the things that don't matter that much, I mean, like, once again, I'm stepping on someone's toes, but like MPPTs, DC-DC converters, inverters, all of that stuff, we're not developing that by ourselves because there's people out there who are doing a fantastic job, and there's good components available. So we're then focusing on, well, of course, the hull design, as we talked about a lot, and then other components that are really, really critical to the performance of the boat, but trying to use as much off the shelf as possible.
Yeah, and I think doing that 48-volt side of things goes a long way too. I was chatting with somebody who was nervous about it and in terms of serviceability. And it was like, hey, worst case scenario, we send a technician to you. I was like, but otherwise, any golf cart mechanic or forklift mechanic, like it's not a highly
Exactly.
skilled thing. It's not a high voltage thing. It's like when you keep it at a 48-volt architecture, those barriers come down a bit, and
Yes.
it doesn't take I don't know, when you start talking golf cart mechanics or working on the same voltage levels, like there's a lot of people that work on their own golf carts. So I think that concern goes away quite a bit once once you break it down and make them realize you're not putting 500 amps through in a 400 volt system or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. In terms of batteries or powertrains, it sounds like you guys have a couple options.
Mhm.
Is that just depending on needs or budget, or what's the smallest to biggest in terms of the horsepower and specs?
Yeah, that's really depending on the needs of the customers and also where in the world they're located. We're seeing some issues with shipping certain components to certain parts of the world, so we try to have options available. But that's really the main reason. And also, it's taken a couple of years. When we started, there wasn't a lot of options out on the market. So we had to look a long time to find suppliers that could do exactly what we needed. And we found then really good partners that we're working with that built batteries and motors to our specifications. And that's where we started from, and we're still using them, but we have added more alternatives. So we're starting off, the smallest motor we offer is 10 kilowatts. On our boat Amy, which is the open bow one, there we usually sell with 10 kilowatts. You get a top speed of around 9-10 knots, but you have a nice cruise speed in the 6-7 knots range, which is usually what people drive with that boat. Then we can go twin 10 kilowatts. Then we have 15 kilowatt, we have 18 kilowatt, and we have 50 kilowatt as the top one. And with the 50 kilowatt, the boat does 25 knots. And I mean, then we have performance like boats that are at least twice the price of ours.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had a 50 kilowatt application. That's pretty huge, man.
And also,
what's the battery capacity at that when you put that much motor in it?
50 kilowatts. So the minimum battery is 46 kilowatt hours, but we recommend to go with at least 60.
Oh, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
And still in a 48-volt architecture?
Still 48 architecture. Yep.
Wow. Is that like solid state marine batteries, or can you share who you're getting them from, or?
Sure. We're using LiFePO batteries, so
Yeah.
LFP batteries. We're sticking with that. The motor itself, the 50 kilowatt, that's a Molabo, German built. Really nice product. And also with this setup, so with the 50 kilowatt motor and 60 kilowatt hour batteries, then we're also running at planing speeds for a minimum of 40 miles. We can keep going a little bit longer if you know what you're doing, but 40 miles is easy to reach then at a planing speed.
Wow, that's huge, man. Yeah, it's you mentioned the powertrain manufacturers. I was looking over some emails that I had that popped up from a couple years ago, and I was searching for stuff. And in terms of battery and motor manufacturers, I feel like the industry has absolutely boomed. We've been in it 3.5 years. You've been in it longer than us, but the amount of, call it 50 kilowatt and below horsepower options, they're like inboard, outboard, you name it. Like there are so many people out there, and it's to the point now we've kind of have to. I have to tell them, they reach out to us all the time, and it's like, hey, I got to focus on sales right now. We'll have this conversation later. But if we entertained everybody that came on board, I mean, we would have 15, 20 different powertrain manufacturers, and that's just in the US. You guys in Europe have even more. I remember watching the video from Justin when he went to Metz, and I don't know how many powertrains it was, but there's just so many, and some I've never even heard of. So it's interesting because like you look at the gas boat market, there isn't 20 to 30 different gas engines out there. You've got a handful of heavy hitters, and that's kind of it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that space.
Can I plug my new website? Or
Please
our new
do.
website? So
That was going to be Brooks's next suggestion, actually.
all right. Yeah, thanks for the platform. I'll keep it brief, but basically, yeah, aquaelectric.org. It's a new website that's really more focused on the industry. So if you are interested in learning about electric boats, if you want to work in the industry, we have a page, Learn tab with articles and kind of diving into deeper topics. We have a job board, so that lists every job available in the industry that's posted right now. We have there's media sections. If you are a professional, you have something to say about the industry or something you want to share, you can write articles. So it's really designed to be an information hub for the electric boat industry. And then very shortly we're going to start with conferences online. So it'll be an opportunity to network with your electric boat colleagues in the industry, kind of share knowledge. So yeah, if that sounds like something you're interested in, aquaelectric.org.
I love it, man. And it's a lot of what you do kind of reflects what we're about in terms of being, brand agnostic. And like a big part of it is just getting the word out there. And even in the industry side of things, like there's never been a centralized hub for this information. I've got a lot of people from the electric car world that are getting out, whether it's Tesla or Rivian. I've got buddies at like every major company, and they're like, not really sure what's next. And I've been sending your website to them. I was like, dude, look around. Like this is the next industry. Cause like when I was at Tesla, there was a ton of us there that like, it was like this trickle effect of going out into different companies, whether it was Rivian or Lucid or, starting our own thing. And like, that is still very actively happening. And it's like, hey, 90% of your skills trickle over to the electric boating market. The powertrain is very similar. You've just got a propeller instead of wheels. And I've sent it to a handful of guys, and like I had a couple conversations with them, and like they're getting excited about it. So appreciate you providing that platform, because I probably wouldn't have sent it to them otherwise. I didn't realize how many job postings were actually out there. But
Yeah, it's surprising, and right now I think most of the jobs are centered in North America. There's jobs all over the world, but right now, especially they're looking for engineers, technicians, people in sales and marketing. So if you are interested in that kind of industry, yeah, there's 3 big companies in the U.S. Hiring right now. Also all over Europe and in Asia as well, Australia and New Zealand.
That's
But
huge. And so,
yeah,
so you've got like a team, I don't know how much of this is automated, that's like scraping data from manufacturers' websites, or is it like the team that you've assembled is doing a lot of that? Or give me some insight on that, man. I saw a couple people on your roster. That's so freaking cool to see.
yeah. I mean, we have so I mean, like I'm doing quite a lot of it as scraping data, just kind of searching sites, and now it's gotten easier now that the infrastructure's built. But yeah, we have a couple features coming on, like basically a boat and propulsion company index that Pedro on the website, he did an incredible job like building this thing out. It's really amazing. And then we also have contributors from other areas in the industry that have written articles. We have one coming out Monday on a really cool old Dutch classic boat conversion to electric. So yeah, it's been just great to see people that want to share knowledge from their corner of the industry.
Way cool, man. This is just the start of it too.
Mm. And also looking at the website, you have an absolutely fantastic advisory board, 100%
Right.
from the Nordics.
We have some a Slovenian connection also
Yeah,
on the board now, but yeah, Emil's brother, who's actually a consultant, he's an advisor as well, and really appreciate you know these guys and the help that we're getting from them. So it's
Very cool, man.
I think we talked about this previously when we had you on the podcast. So, what's it been like? How is the launch experience? How much success have you had? Talk more about that.
it's been out for a week, but the response has been, I'd say, better than expected. Yeah, I mean, looking at the viewership statistics, I mean, we had a Helios Marine, a company out of Bulgaria. They wrote an article on their blade cell battery technology. And yeah, I mean, I think right now they have 50 page views of the article, and with like long enough duration that people are reading it. So, and we just launched, so to kind of get that kind of viewership, I think is very happy with, very happy with it. And same thing on the other, the job board. It's been getting traction. So, so yeah, I mean, and it's just it's the whole point of it. And I'm very just appreciative of people that are sharing it out, kind of spreading the word and also contributing. So yeah, it's been above my expectations.
That's awesome. And you said 50 page views. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize how niche this industry still is. Like, you look at automotive industry, you look like at the boating industry, and then you look at the electric boating industry and how tiny it is. It's a blip on the radar right now. But to have 50 page views already in 1 week is pretty significant, man. That's hats off to you. That's an exciting launch. And
Yeah,
it's,
and it's 1,400 subscribers on LinkedIn, which is it's small, but it's also very niche. I think most, like 80% are from the marine industry, decision makers and whatnot. I think the reach is small, but to people who are, let's say, relevant, who are if focused on electric marine. So and that's kind of the whole point of it is, do you want to talk to this audience? That this aims to be the platform to do it.
That's it, man. We look at those metrics when we talk about our podcast, and especially with our long form stuff. Like, this is pretty dry, very industry specific stuff. But I'll have CEOs or like some people that are very influential, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I just finished your podcast." I'm like, "Wait, what? Like you listen to that?" And it's like, I don't know, it's surprising to me, but it's really cool. And I mean, there's people that approach me that from like just outside of the country, different manufacturers, and it's like, "Oh yeah, you just brought this up in your second to last one. I can't wait for this to happen." And it's like, man, okay, like somebody's watching these things, and even if it's slow, like you said, lower quantity, like it's influential people that are listening to this stuff. So it's, I don't know, I think we're gonna look back at this 5-10 years from now and reminisce. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, even if only 5 people watch the 4 of us chitty chatting about boats, I mean, it could be life changing for somebody who finds out about Emil's boat or what you guys are doing at Electrified Marina. I mean, one of the only electric boat dealerships in the whole country, and I mean, yeah, hearing about events like you guys are having to be able to test that many boats in one spot or whatever they take away from it, but just that even if the viewership's small, it's can have a big impact.
It's funny you say that too, because I don't know, I minimize a lot of what we're doing, but I picked up a call yesterday, and like our sales calls come to my cell phone. Like I'm playing salesman right now, and this lady found us on like a YouTube short, and it was like from one of our podcasts that we clipped up and utilized. And she calls, and I was like, "Oh, this is Erick." She's like, "Are you that electric boat dude?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity. I've watched so much of your stuff." I'm like, "Oh, all right." And she's like, "I didn't think you'd be picking up." She said, "You've got to have a team of people." Like I said, "I've got like less than 10 employees. Like we're a very small team." And then like right now, you get me for sales, and I apologize right now because I'm not the best at it. But no, it's like just hearing that she's consuming that much content, but she was so educated. This lady's like 60 years old, lives in Florida, and we were talking about kilowatt hour specs and
Great.
motor
That's great.
specs. Yeah, it was the coolest thing, talking about like a Vision Marine boat versus a Rand, and and it was the amount of homework she did was just mind-boggling. And she's like, "I just want to keep the water clean and not be a polluter like everybody else." Like, man, we need more people like you. Like, but we chatted for 45 minutes yesterday. It was awesome. But yeah, this content makes a difference, man. And especially when, I was chatting with someone a week ago, and it was like talking about who's out there, like pumping out content between like you, Wayne, the boat guy, me. It's like probably like 90% of the electric boat content out there, like in terms of like educational stuff. And like, we just need so many more people doing this, because there's so much we were talking about it before the show, like the amount of people that don't know this stuff exists, or that a 200-mile trip is doable on a solar boat. So keep it up, man. Both of you guys, it's we got a long way to go. It's exciting.
All right. Well, we are coming to the end of our time. Emil, do you have any websites or social media accounts that you want to plug before we wrap it up?
Absolutely. Go and check out elveneboats.com. There you'll find us, or Elvene Boats on LinkedIn, Insta, Facebook, YouTube. You'll find us there.
All the accounts. Got it.
your
And
accent
Justin,
is
what about
so
you?
good.
I think I've said it already. Yeah, go to elvene.com, and our episode is posted, I think, right there on the homepage if you want to check it out. And yeah, just thanks. It's great to be here.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Well, you've been listening to Electrified Marina podcast, brought to you by Electrified Marina and electrifiedmarina.com. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please share with your friends and family. Please leave comments, questions, feedback, or potential guests in the comment section on YouTube, and that will help us to reach more people and spread our message. Thank you for watching and listening.